All right. Well, welcome everyone to DES 344, Advanced Print Production. We are in our second session of our third week of our 10th mod together here at Independence University. So yeah, hopefully everybody is having a good Wednesday. Well, today for me is Wednesday, October 18th. I just had to check the phone to see what day it really was. But yeah, so hopefully you're having a great day as well, whatever day you happen to be watching this on. So just a reminder, this is we're in slightly non-traditional schedule week since it is week 3. But we will get our hours in, we will get our content in. And if you are confused or unsure about anything, as always, feel free to kind of check in with me, send me an email, send me a text message, say, "Hey, Lisa, what's up?" And I will definitely try to clarify, try to get on track, and that sort of thing. Okay, so what we are going to talk about in our session today is first off running the numbers and what that all entails. And by running the numbers, we basically mean assessment 3, which is practicing creating a print production budget. So getting some info, some numbers from a variety of different print sources, and kind of seeing how they compare, and what that whole process is like. So if you've eyed that assessment and said it's math, I'm not doing it, which admittedly is kind of I think that would be my first reaction. It's okay. We're gonna show that it is a bit mathy, but it's not mathy in a bad way. So we will hopefully create some good clarity over it. And here's the deal. Here's the deal, team. If I can do it, you can do it, because I'm probably the worst person, one of the worst people with numbers and calculations and memorizing stuff like that. So we'll walk through it together, and hopefully you'll leave feeling pretty empowered, feeling like you got this. We can do hard things together, type deal. Then we're going to move into something that is probably, hopefully, going to be review for you, but it's not review as far as things we've covered in this course. It's more review as in things you covered in the program, and that is going to be the big 4 principles of graphic design. So I don't know if you remember those from way back now, DES 109-ish. But yeah, common principles of graphic design, kind of how we should think about structuring our work, and kind of going to go over those things. And then we're going to finish out this session by talking about the assignment. So you'll see that the official agenda point is creating an emboss. But if you have taken a peek at the assignment for this week, you'll know that you are creating a folder as well as a CD cover, and the CD cover has an emboss on it. And so we're going to talk about kind of effectively setting up a document for that. And we could probably all say this together now. Creating advanced print effects that look really cool, that look amazing, that have huge payoff, is the simplest thing ever on our end, and a super complex thing on our printer's end. So when we see these terms, we don't have to be afraid. We can say, yes, hey, easy peasy, I know how to do this, because we've already essentially done stuff with foils, glosses, that sort of thing, and so an emboss is, again, just going to kind of be in that overall family. So nothing nothing to fear too much. Okay, so running the numbers, the big four, as well as creating an emboss, and that, that should see us through the session. Okay, so just one more thing we're going to do, life or learning objectives for the week. Discuss the life cycle of a print project from initial design to final product. Discuss industry typical goals, strategies, and methods for spot color, die cutting, and specialty coding applications. Create a press-ready deliverable with an embossing layer. Create a print-ready file in Adobe InDesign for an advanced printing method. Ooh, a little bit early in the morning to say all those words together. Apply the 4 main principles of design to produce a print-ready promotional material, and then apply research and math skills to create a print budget analysis. Good stuff. Lots of stuff that's somewhat review, but lots of good stuff, good skills that we'll be kind of going through this week. Okay, so let's not do the big four. Let's also not have my email be right here. Not sure why that just popped up. But let's get into the classroom, and particularly assessment for this week. So if you're coming to this session and this is the first one you're watching, just a note that in yesterday's session we did lots and lots of feedback for the pieces that were turned in for assignment to as well as assessment to. So you want to make sure that you just check out that video and see what we had to say. Well, we being me, see what I had to say, just overall. And a couple things to note too. I know that there's been a couple of you that have sent me emails saying, "Hey, you talked about X, Y, Z in the feedback, and I did it, and I just resubmitted. So take a look." And I think that that's fabulous. So graphic design is incredibly iterative, meaning that it builds on itself. A design is kind of never finished, which is both wonderful and terrible for us. But yes, but a design is never quite finished until you actually ship it for a client. So until you give it to them and get paid. So there's always kind of tweaks and things that you can do. So as a student in the program, it's very helpful if you can factor in time for updating and creating and applying feedback if possible. Mostly because it will always result in stronger work, and then also the kind of other fun fact, fun piece that will come out of it is just that you will also get that experience of how do you deal with something that you're pretty sure on a personal level is finished, and then somebody from the outside comes in and is like, well, I think it's okay, but have you ever thought of, changing this up or changing this color scheme or something like that? And it's, at times it's, let's be real, it's a little bit frustrating because you're like, well, no, if I would have wanted to do that, I would have done it the first time. So as a designer, we have to kind of learn how to manage ourselves in those moments. So, kind of how do you take feedback that other people have given you and kind of see it critically, and then also learn how to see your own work critically in that process. So kind of detach yourself, if possible, from what's going on, and just kind of step back a bit. Say, okay, this is is this a good thing? How can I integrate this? What's this really all about? That sort of thing, and then kind of put it back, put the feedback back into your work if possible, and what that might be like. So it's a handy thing. I think a lot of times if you're like me, like me when I was a student, I just feel like classwork and content and things, you're always like, what does this really mean? Like, how is this actually going to help me? our curriculum is actually designed to help you in lots of very obvious ways with portfolio projects, but just the progression and the programs are also kind of sneakily helpful in several ways as well. So just kind of showing, kind of giving you exposure to working and thinking in so many different arenas. But anyway, all that to say, do some feedback if you have time. And then if I seem like I'm not grading it, just say, hey, I put in feedback, like, why are you ignoring it? Well, yeah, you actually probably could say that and that would be fine, but perhaps not the most professional way to say it, but you guys get the drift. Other thing too, as long as we're on this topic, late work. I know I'm turning into a broken record, but late work is always a good idea. I will 100%, accept anything all the way up till the deadline. So just, if you have time, if you can find time, if you can make time to get that in, that would be very, very, very good. Excuse me. All right. So let's look at this assessment, which is creating a print budget analysis. So in addition to or in tandem with, creating the design of a printed piece, it is good practice to also consider how much the printed piece will cost to be printed, where it can be printed, and how different options differ in cost and quality. Often clients will have their own, quote, tried and true printer, but if you are working on a personal design project or doing work for a client who is relatively new to the world of print production, the client will look to you for suggestions about how, where, why one print method or company is better than another. How, where, and why one print company is better than another. Your job as the designer is to have a basic understanding of how to price print jobs, as well as be knowledgeable about several different options that you might recommend to a client should they need direction. So basically, just like we talked about in week 1, in discussion 1, clients will really look to you for lots of guidance. It's kind of a crazy thing, like we are the professionals. I mean, I guess it's not a crazy thing, but you need to have confidence in that, and you need to kind of anticipate some different questions, some different ideas, some different things that that they might need to know, that you need to know the answers to. And anything around money tends to be something that gets asked a lot, so go figure. But yeah, so how much things are, what that's like, why one thing is better than another, or why one thing is more expensive than another, what's the issues of quality are, kind of cost effectiveness, all those sorts of things. It's just good to be kind of conversant in it, so that so that you can kind of see through the options or walk through the options, and just kind of let people know everything that's out there. So it's a handy skill set. All right, so in this assessment, we will be assessing your ability to create a print budget cost analysis on the following 3 scenarios. So project 1, 200 and 2,000 business cards, full bleed, double-sided, 3.5 by 2, processed colors, glossy stock. You choose the stock color and weight, or ask for recommendation. Project 2, 200 and 2,000 business cards, 2 Pantone colors, one side, 3.5 by 2, letter press printed, ding, 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 okay, textured stock. Number 3, 200 and 2,000, noticing a theme here, processed colors, one-sided, with an embossed logo, extra thick stock. Then you choose the color and weight, etc. So first, conduct research on the internet and identify online print sources capable of each of these projects, or visit your local print shop and ask them if they are capable of producing any or all of these. Next, ask each company to provide you with a bid as to how much each job would cost. Then create a spreadsheet showing the total cost of all items for each project in the unit, cost of each individual item. Take the total cost and divide it by the number of units to find this. When you have the total and unit cost for all three projects, create a Word document summarizing your results and answering the following questions, 300-word minimum. So basically what you're going to do, and it says here, turn in your Excel spreadsheet and one-page Word document. I'm okay if you actually do it all in Word because Excel is good to keep you on track for big projects. But as we're going to see here, this is kind of as big as you want to make it. And I'm generally a believer in, go big or go home. But for this, like, I think simplicity is just a little bit better. And that's, all because of my own number phobia. But yeah, so basically you have these three projects and you're just going to see how much it would cost for 200 business cards, how much it would cost for 2,000 business cards, and then the price per card for 200 business cards, the price per card for 2,000 business cards. So you're going to kind of, scheme through these calculations. So you might be wondering, where do I find this information? I have to actually get bids. This sounds incredibly complicated. So let's talk about that for a second. So first off, there was one note that if you have a local print shop that you live near, so if you have a Kinko's, if you have an Alpha Graphics, if you have a small kind of mom and pop shop that's nearby you, I would say go in there and just ask them these questions and say, how much would this be? How much would this be? How much would this be? And they can give you the pricing, and then you can, do the calculations from there. And the other bonus for that is that if you go in and you talk to these people, you can be like, hey, I'm a graphic designer. I'm, almost done with my degree. And do you guys ever need, outside design help? Do you ever hire freelancers? Do you ever hire contract workers? And if so, here's my contact info. I would love to be, part of your team. So a really great way to get some answers to questions, and also a really great way to kind of sneakily get yourself, on their radar at least of who you are and what you do. And I know that we all didn't come here, just to study design for our own mental happiness. We all came to get jobs. And so if you can be proactive in looking for a job, that's a good thing too. So kind of you gotta be brave. If you got a local spot, put on a good front, good face, and then kind of present yourself that way. Okay, so if you don't have a local shop, or if you're like, yeah, no, that's not me. I get it. I'm, an introvert too. So we can actually do all of this fully online. And it's actually super convenient because if you don't know the answers to questions, many fully online print outlets have a live chat feature. So that's another helpful thing. Okay, so we're going to get to all of that though in just a second. Couple minutes. So first thing I'm going to do is actually just open a Microsoft Word document. Oops. Hey, look at that. There's my dissertation, if we want to have that coming into things. Oops, wrong thing. Come on, Microsoft. Okay. And now is the point where we wish that it would open quickly. And if it doesn't, perhaps we really will use Excel. We'll see. Looks like apparently my doctoral dissertation is causing all sorts of havoc. Okay, let's try that one more time. Okay, so there it is. New blank documents. Yay! Okay, we got it. All right, so we're going to save this right away since, as we saw, Microsoft is, or I guess my computer is a bit glitchy. Assessment 3. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is just copy, these this kind of info over. So we're going to say project 1, and this is if you want to follow this look exactly. I'm fine with that. So do we want to do that? I think we'll just write project 1. So this is kind of the overview of it. We don't need to copy that. We just need 202,000. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is look for an online print source. So when we look at project 1, a couple things to think about here, a couple things that are going to kind of guide what we come up with. The numbers, maybe, maybe not, but full bleed and double-sided. So basically what this means is that there will be an image that's going to stretch, from corner to corner and beyond on this card, or it's going to be a flood of color or something. And it's double-sided, which means that both the front and the flip side of the card will be will have something, will have something on them. So full bleed and double-sided. So that's kind of a thing to think about. The other thing too, process colors is how this will be printed. So, take a little jog back into your short-term memory. What does process color mean? Let's think. Okay, so if you're thinking process color, CMYK, colors created by mixing differing amounts of ink in different colors, kind of the screen, the dots, that sort of deal. You would be correct. That's that's process right there. And so process printing is, just regular CMYK happening through that. So process color, CMYK, double-sided, and glossy. So these are going to be just like everyday average run-of-the-mill business cards. So you can go onto Google to find what you want. And we're going to search for business business card printing. You can even do business card printing near me. Oh, okay. So you'll see here's local stuff. Lots and lots and lots of local stuff. And then you'll see, so usually, well, I guess I don't need to really navigate you through a Google search. But yes, you have ads here. So these are people that are actively promoting their businesses. Hey, look, moo.com. And then you have local stuff, so whatever happens to be near you at the moment, according to your Google search. And this might be a good thing if you're like, hey, I don't think I live near anybody, and then you pull this up and you're like, oh, look at that, that's down the street. Like, I could go there. You could go there. So, a good way to kind of meet businesses. And then if you go a little bit further down, it's kind of mass production stuff that happens fully digital, fully online. Or the other place you could actually, if you don't want to do a Google search, you could just look at the resources that we talked about in week 1, where you guys are ordering print samples from, and they do business cards, all of them. So that could be another resource for you. So we're going to go here, Vistaprint, see what that's all about. Ooh, deals have been applied. Okay, find the cards, business cards, as unique as you are. Ooh, that sounds exciting. But we're not going to do that. So, so now you're going to have to just kind of look around at these sites and see just kind of see what they're all about. Kind of get yourself started. And then what you're going to do is just pretend like you have in order, and put this through as though you were kind of creating an order, and through that process you're going to find out basically all the information that you need to know. So let's do get started. So how are you going to design? So we are the designers. So we're just going to do use your complete design, use your business card. So continue, whatever. Personalize. Okay, so let's just do next. Okay, reverse side printing, full color. So let's select that. Let's do next. Please fix the issues. It's probably going to tell me that you have an empty page. Oh man, I had a feeling this was going to happen. Okay, so let's just do next. Full color. Let's put this in here. Whatever, doesn't really matter. Front side. What is the issue? We have an empty image or placeholder here. Oh man. Okay, so here's where we're gonna. So apparently you need to make this. So let's see if we can do something a little bit different and see if we can live chat. And this is going to be very we'll see how this works. Live chat recorded. So this is another thing that you can do. Lisa Hammersheim, Lisa.Hammersheim at independence.edu. Business cards. Category. How much would 200 standard double-sided glossy business cards cost? Submit. I'll select an item from the list. Okay, so we're all looking in, but this agent does not know. Okay. Of course, this agent might also be a robot, so who knows? Okay, the agent is typing. Let's see what they're going to do. So anyway, so as we're, I hope all is well with you so far. Yeah. Thanks. Ooh, that was noisy. I am wondering how much 200 double-sided glossy, oops, not bossy, glossy business cards would cost. Okay, and so hopefully the Karima will be able to tell us this. So again, having these kind of chat, direct chat kind of access pieces, just very helpful because, well, in theory, it's very helpful. We'll see how very helpful. See how very helpful this interaction will be. But in theory, they will be able to just give you price quotes, and there's so much competition that yeah, I think that's why stuff like live chat has started. And because average people that don't have design or printing experience are getting more and more into the printing process, and so they need kind of these scaffolds to help walk them through just what's going on. So okay, so we'll see. See what they're going to say. This is always where, when you're waiting, you're like, why is this taking so long? And then you just think, well, I guess I could just look on the website. But in some ways, this feels easier. Probably, if you do, okay. Well, we do not have a set of 200. You get 250 cards with the glossy applied to the front for $31. Excellent. Thanks for letting me know. How can you please let me know how much 2,000 cards would be. Okay, so it looks like you can get 250 cards with glossy application for $31. So we might use that price, or I'm sorry, we might use those numbers because it's pretty close. Sure, okay, that would be $102. Okay, so we're gonna just quickly write these down before I accidentally like close up the chat and forget this. Okay, so we're gonna do 250 cards for $31 and 2,000 cards for $102. And we're going to say vistaprint.com. Okay, and we want to be polite, so very good. Let me right here. Very good. Thank you so much for your time and assistance. Have a great day. Okay, so we're going to get out of here and chat and close it down. Okay, so first one off the list, easy. Okay, we're going to just right here, double-sided glossy business cards. And you'll note that Karima told us that it was like glossy on one side. Yeah, that's fine as well. So, you know, as long as there's glossy somewhere, then we're good. Okay, so next one we're going to go to is actually moo.com. And the reason that we are going to go there is because when you look for things like letterpress or emboss, I'm trying to think what's our second thing? Oh yeah, letterpress printed. It's a little bit more of a specialty application, and so I know Moo does it. I don't totally know who else does it that's an online print source, although I guess, you know, you could do google.com online letterpress business cards. Affordable online letterpress business cards, huh? Okay, so there's Moo. Etsy. Oh, I guess maybe Vistaprint does something. Looks like lots of Etsy, lots of Moo. Hoban Press. Jukebox.com. That's something I haven't heard of. Oh, no, actually, I have heard of this. Yeah, interesting. Okay, look at this, chat. Okay, so interesting stuff. Oh, look at this. Okay, wait a second. Hold the phone on Moo. We can check out the sides right here. Okay, so here's the deal with letterpress. It says on this assessment that you want it to be 2 Pantone colors, so 2 spot colors. So remember, colors created with their own ink, and then printed on one side, and then textured stock. So kind of a little FYI about letterpress. So just remember, think back to how letterpress actually works. So it's, you know, an image that's printed on a plate, and then the plate has ink applied to it. So printed on the plate, meaning the plate is like metal or plastic. It's something with dimensionality to it. So, you know, it has, it's almost like a stamp itself. So then it gets covered in ink, and then it gets paper put on top of it, and press happens. So the press of letterpress definitely means just that, a press. No, it means like a squeeze, like the press itself gives the paper and the ink kind of a hug, and it presses the presses the impression onto the paper with the ink on it. And so letterpress itself is an inherently dimensional printing method, just because of that contact and pressure. So all that to say, if you are printing letterpress, it implies that you have a textured kind of extra thick paper. You can't letterpress print on thin paper just because the paper wouldn't hold up. It wouldn't hold the impression. So with textured stock, don't be like, oh my gosh, what is textured stock? What does that mean? Basically, if you can do it on letterpress, it's textured stock. So it's just like a little tricky thing built into the assignment. Okay, so wow, look at this, 1,000 Supergloss business cards for $59. Whew, that's not bad at all. This is a great little site. Oh, look at how pretty that is. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love that. And another cool thing is that when you look at these, websites, you just see like how much cool stuff there is, how much good inspiration. So I'm I'm a sucker for cool inspiration, as you know. Excuse me. Okay, so select size. So it doesn't really matter. Let's do bright white soft cotton, 40 point. So again, remember, the higher the point, the thicker the paper. So 40 is going to be nice and thick. So select color, one color. This is going to be two colors. So two Pantone colors, one side. So two colors on one side, essentially. So two colors, front side only. Select quantity, 250. All right, well, it looks like we're hitting the 250 mark, but that's okay. Okay, so this is showing me Canadian prices, but $325.71 for 250. We're actually getting a good kind of synchronicity with these numbers. Letterpress. Oops. Two color. Make that bold. Okay, so 250 cards for, again, look at that number, $325.71. $325.71. 2,000 cards for, we'll just take this number and times it by 4, so 397.56. 397.56 times 4. That's what I said, because that was 500. So 1590.24. 1590.24. Again, woo! That price got expensive quickly, especially when you see here 2,000 cards for $100. Or 2,000 cards for almost $1,600. Wow, totally different pricing. But that said, why might that be different pricing? We'll get into that in the second part of this kind of analysis. So this is jukeboxprint.com. Oops, let's save it, not copy it. Okay, so project 3 is going to be embossed logo. So a business card with an emboss. So we're going to put that in. Okay, so let's see what we can find here. Okay, so we're gonna go we're gonna go to Moo and see if they have emboss cards. And what we're gonna actually do is chat again. Live chat, mostly because it's kind of fun. Start live chat. Oops. D pen, P-E-N. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I actually can spell dependence.edu. What is your question about? Product information, start the chat. Oh, 1 to 2 minutes. Okay. Okay, well, we'll just let that sit for a second, see if anything comes up. So let's do printing business cards with an emboss. Oh, look at that, embossed business cards. Oh. Okay, looks like turn on the wow factor. Yeah. Oh, okay, here's the spot gloss, gold foil, raised. Okay. All right, so we'll search one more. And if this isn't emboss, if this isn't gonna show up something quickly, we won't belabor the point because I know that we have much to do. And oh, hey, look at this. These are really good. Just a heads up. So yeah, so we have some stuff to do and not so much time to keep on just waiting. And you probably don't just want to watch me browse the internet because you could browse the internet yourself. Oh, okay, here's some emboss. Nice. Okay. Oh, look at this. Perfect. We looked all those different places and we could have just stayed home. It would have been okay. All right, so embossed logo, process color, one side. Okay, so not a double-sided. Just going to be embossed. Embossed logo, so embossed. Okay, so embossing on front side looks good. Foiling not required. Yeah, and whatever you want for the stock. Let's do pearl silver. Oh, I guess we can't do that. And actually, look at this. Did you guys see this? Since this stock is printed using our digital press, registering embossing/debossing is not possible. Please note we can only offer blind embossing, debossing for this cardstock. So cool thing, guys. Look at it, it's digital printed, and this is what we learned about. A great thing about digital printing is it's quick and easy. A not so great thing is that you can't do specialty finishes, and good example of this. You can't even, try to get the order in. So, cool stuff. We know it. Okay. Semi-gloss embossing on front side works for me. Semi-gloss, yep. Embossing on back side, debossing. Okay, so if you're wondering what debossing is, it's the opposite of embossing. So embossing pushes the image up, debossing pushes the image down. So it's kind of up or down is either way. Slit quantity. Okay, so we're gonna keep 250 since apparently that's the new 200. 358.44 is our price. 358.44. So interesting that it is slightly more than a letterpress, significantly more than glossy. Okay, 1,000. Wow. Look at this. Okay, 354, 358.44. Why did that not update? Oh, 398.36. What? Like it does nothing. Okay, 398.36. So 398.36 times 2 equals, because that was 1,000, we want 2,000, 796.72. 796.72. Okay, and then this is also jukeboxprints.com. Okay. So close that down, make your card look rich. Yeah. See if Moo ever got back to us. So connection lost. Okay, well, it's fine. Okay, so we did all of our research. We identified online print sources capable of each of these projects. And we did ask for one bid with Vistaprint. So next thing we're going to do is create a sheet. Well, we're going to continue creating our Word document and see how much each unit would cost. So basically that's the total price then divided by the number of pieces. So for example, 31 divided by 250, what is that? Let's move this down a little. 31.00 divided by 250 equals 0.124. 0.124 per card. Okay, same deal here. 102 divided by 2000. 102 divided by 2 equals 0.051. Oops. Per card. Okay, so same thing here. We're just going to go through 325.71. 325.71 divided by 250 equals 1.30. 1.30 per card. 15, I'm just going to copy this since I don't think I'm going to remember it. Divided by 2000 equals 78. 78. Oops. Per card. So interesting to see how these prices change, hey? Okay. 358.44. 358.44 divided by 250 equals 1.43. 1.43 per card. And again, you know, if you have extra numbers, just round, you know, round up or round down, and that's fine. Okay, so 796 divided by 2000 equals, like this could be, let's just round this up to 0.4. 0.4 per card. Okay, so we got our total price. We have our price per card. And now we're going to move on to just thinking about why the cost is different, how the cost changes, how the cost just, you know, kind of lines up between items. So let's look at this. And actually, we could probably just even copy this whole thing and then paste it. And remove the formatting, since I'm one of those weirdos that, like, when you copy and paste things in, it's like, oh, it's got to look the same. Okay, so, and you guys can even just like do this exact, like if you want to set up your document exactly as I've set up my document, I'm cool, like it's okay. Okay, so here is which project is the cheapest per total order, what is the total cost, and what is the per unit cost for each item. So I don't know how things will shake out for you, wink wink. I actually think I might, but and I think you guys are probably already tracking as to how this is going to shake out. But yeah, so we're going to answer the questions, and you know, maybe not, you will have the similar answers. But we're going to also kind of just talk through the whys, as in WHYS, as opposed to WISE. But yeah, so kind of the whys behind this. So which one is the cheapest? And what is the total cost? And what is the per cost for each item? So I'm just going to write project. One is the cheapest. The total cost would be $31 for 250. $31 for 250 cards, or $102 for 2,000 cards. Or 2,000 cards. What is the per unit cost? Per unit for 200 cards is 0.1254. Per unit for 2,000 cards is 0.51. Okay, so again, bold these so you can scan it easier. Okay, which project is the most expensive? What is the total cost for each item? Again, same deal. Project. Which one is the most expensive? Interesting that the emboss is, I'm going to say letterpress though overall because that's $1,500. But in the per unit price for the emboss is actually for 200 is actually the most expensive. Weird. Okay, project 2 is the most expensive. Oops. The total cost would be 3 for 250 cards, or 15. I should just copy and paste. Okay. For 2,000 cards. And then per units, just copy the sentence and replace the words. Per unit is 130 per card. .78 per card. Okay. Okay, which project has the largest drop in per price, per piece, drop of per piece price when the higher quantity? What contributes to this happening? So let's look. So higher quantity, so this is, so we're going to do slightly more math. So calculate these. So we're going to do 0.124 minus 0.051 equals, okay, so this is a price drop of, 0.073, 0.073. Okay, then same thing here. 130 minus 78, 1.30 minus 0.78 equals 0.52, 52. Okay, so price, oops, drop 0.52. Okay, 1.43 minus 0.4, 1.433 minus 0.4 equals 1.03, price drop. Okay, so, whoa, who had the biggest price drop? Whoa, that's, yeah, okay, so we have, let's compare. So we have 0.073, we have 0.52, and then we have $1.03. Wow, that's craziness that it goes down that much. Okay, so, which project? And this is legit. I don't know if well, I guess if you use jukebox printing, you will get these numbers as well. But I'm not sure which one would do it. Usually, I feel like it's the letterpress, but for whatever reason, it's the emboss this time. Okay, so project 3 has the largest drop per piece. What contributes to this happening? And this is kind of, what do you guys think? What's kind of your guesswork of why this might happen. I don't know. I think well, my guess would be is that once you produce the plate for the emboss, it's a quick process of production. So it's probably a fully automated process, but producing the plate is a high initial cost, and then the printing process is cheaper. So I'm going to say producing the plate, high initial cost, but then producing the emboss plate, the printing cost is cheaper. So printing more equals a lower price. So yeah, so usually with something like letterpress, the same thing tends to happen, is that the plate is expensive. But what's also with letterpress is that the labor is quite expensive as well. And so you produce the you produce the plate, and it's expensive. You also then have to pay for the person to print it. So then that, even though you're doing more, it's still kind of an expensive calculation. Whereas here, I think that, yeah, you're not really paying a lot for somebody to print, so you don't have that like labor cost, and so it so yeah, it gets a little cheaper that way. So that would be my guess. I don't know. We'll see, but well, I guess we won't see. But for this part, speculation is fine. Okay, so let's see how we're doing. Oh, we're still okay in time. How does the cost of a specialty print technique for business cards change the cost? Do you think this change is worth it? Why or why not? Again, this is completely up to you. I'm going to say adding a specialty finish. Finish. I can spell. Makes the card cost more. I think because of look and feel and overall dazzle, this is worth the cost. And again, it's totally it's a judgment call. So you could say, I don't think it's worth the cost because a business card is just going to get put in someone's pocket, or eventually just thrown away. So why do you need to spend money on it? It's a disposable item. Yeah, it's another option, another thing to think about. So just kind of two kind of ends of the spectrum. Okay, so to cover your own labor and make a profit, you would need to charge 40% beyond production cost for each project. Taking this into account, what price would you need to quote your client for each of the projects above? Okay, so here's where it gets even more fun. We jump into some more math. So we're going to need to take 40% of the total cost per card, or per, $250 or $2,000, and then add that back into the cost, and that's essentially what you would pay yourself for working on this project. So we're going to do 40% of 31. So 0.4 times 31 equals 12.4. So and then 12.4. Can we just do a plus 31 equals, okay, 43.4. Total job cost, 43.4 to 43.40, or we could even do 44, but okay. So again, 0.4 times 102 equals 40.8 plus 102 equals 142.80. Let's just round this one up to 143. Total job cost, 143. Okay. All right, so we're going to keep on going down here. So 3, let's just copy and paste this one. Okay, so plus this. Oh, it's not going to work. 325.71 equals. Okay, this is 456. 456 total job cost. This is where perhaps having a spreadsheet would make sense, but I'm so far down this road, we're not turning back. Oops. Is that 2, 4 that I just lost? Okay. Okay, 40% of $1,500, $636. Ah, so cool. Okay, 1590, 90 points, 2, 4 equals. Okay, 2226. Okay, 358.44. 358.44 equals 143.37. So let's do 144. Okay, 796.72. Okay, 796. 6.72 equals 1115. Okay, so we have our per unit price for each of the projects. So we can note that down here. So again, project 1. Just going to copy all this and then I can delete as I go through. Oops. 250 total cost. 2,000 total cost. Okay, project 2. So again, hopefully you guys, as you're watching this, I apologize if it's getting kind of boring, but hopefully this is showing you that it's really, I mean, it's all calculations, and it's kind of actually fun because there is like a right and wrong answer. It's not like design where it's kind of whatever you, whatever the client wants, whoever the audience is, you know. Kind of all that beautiful yet kind of frustrating creativity at times. So there is, you know, one right or wrong answer. Okay, so there's the project costs, what you would need to charge. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, so your client tells you they have a firm $200 budget. Taking into account your own labor costs, how many cards, i.e. units, within each method could they afford? Okay, so this is where it gets, one more time, just a touch tricky. So we know how much each unit costs, but what we don't know is the unit cost with our own design fees and services added in. So that's actually something we need to calculate yet again. And so how we're going to do that is just like how we did it with finding the per unit cost per card. So we now want to do the per unit cost per card with our design fees added in. So 4340 divided by 40 divided by 250 equals. So per unit price with us working is like 0.17. So it used to be 0.124, but now it's 0.17 per card. Same deal here, 143 divided by 2,000. 143 divided by 2,000 equals 0.07. We'll do 0.072. 72 per card. Okay, same deal here. 456 divided by 2,000. 456 or divided by 250, not 2,000. 1.82. 1.82 per card. Oops. This is where you got to get the right numbers, otherwise you're not going to get the right calculations. 2226 divided by 2,000 equals 1.11. Okay, same deal here. Okay, 144 divided by 250. 0.58. Okay. 1115 divided by 2,000 equals 0.56 per card. Okay. So here's the unit price per card, factoring in all of our design fees and such. Okay, so final thing, your client tells you they have a firm $2,000 budget. So how many cards within each method could they afford? So basically, we want to see how many times this cost goes into 2,000. So how many 0.17s, or I'm sorry, how many 0.17s are in 200? So we're going to do 200 divided by 0.17 equals 588 cards. 588 cards for $200. Okay, so we'll bold that guy again. Okay, and then how many 0.072s go into, oops, wait, they have a $200 budget. 1176. I was thinking that's a really low number. This is not. Okay, how many how many 0.073s go into 200? So 0.073 equals, okay, 2739. 2739 cards for $200. A lot of cards, a lot of cards. Okay, so 118, 1.82 per card. So 200 divided by 1.82. 109. This one you can't round up because you don't have the money. Cards for 200. Okay. Okay, points. 1.11. Okay, 180 cards for $200. Okay, this one total cost 0.58. 0.58 equals 344. 344 cards for $200. 0.56. Uh, 357 cards. $200. Okay, so that's an odd. So didn't change that much. Okay, so then you can just take this and again copy it in here. So project 1. 1176 or 2739. 1176 or I don't even remember what I just said. 2739, 39, depending on the run they need. project 2. Mm-hmm. 109 or 180. 109 or 180. Just get rid of that. Project 3 is 344, 357. Same deal, almost. 344 or 357. Okay, so look at that. When you have this all finished, that is how you do it. So you can just take your Word document, you can take your Excel spreadsheet, excuse me, you can take whatever you have created and submit it for this assignment. And hopefully by doing it kind of step by step this way, you guys realize that it's really not that complex, not too complicated of a deal. It really is just all about leveraging your resources. So seeing how you can use the live chat functions of websites, how you can engage in that feature, and then also how you do just a little kind of sorry about that. I hope I caught myself. I sneezed and I think I muted in time, but we shall see. But yeah, so hopefully you realize that, just with a couple quick and easy calculations and using some live chat, it's really not too tricky to get it done. And I would encourage you guys, really think about why some things are more expensive. And then even more, really think about, do you agree with the expense? Is that a good thing? Or is that not quite so good? Yeah. Okay. So that is the assessment. And as always, if you have any questions, you need any more just kind of clarity, you can feel free to let me know. All right. So we are going to take just a 2-minute break, so I can go blow my nose. Again, probably too much information. But yeah, when we come back, we are going to jump into a review of the design principles. And then we are also going to take a look at the assignment for this week and talk about just what it takes to do an emboss layer. So 2 minutes or so, you can feel free to get up, walk around, get a drink, stretch, whatever, and then we will come back. All right, and we are back. Okay, so first part of the session, if you're just joining us, which I don't think anyone will be halfway through the recording. But yeah, so assessment, we went over that in great depth. But it's kind of fun, and it's kind of cool to just see, how these things really play out. So let's go back to the assignment now, and take a look at what we have here. Okay, so promotional and self-promotional design has moved from being largely paper-based to now being more and more print and digital hybrid in presentation. When companies, products, individuals, or even entertainment acts want to market themselves, they now rely on a mix of print and digital materials to do so. For example, promotional packets once included lots of paper printouts, brochures, cards, etc. Now USB or flash drives with the same information in digital form are becoming the norm, replacing paper printouts. However, uh, flash drives cannot just be sent out alone. Rather, they still need to be integrated into a complete package and designed according to the overall brand experience. So as a designer, you must become adept at creating for both platforms, and even more become adept at thinking about and creating the overall full package aesthetic experience. From the outside of the package to the inside, even the way each element is placed and encountered, everything has the potential to be a moment in which to convey brand message and brand experience. As we have seen in week 1 and week 2 printing, with its ink application, paper stock, and specialty production processes, printing can be a major part of the tactile and aesthetic experience of graphic design presentation, and out of that overall brand experience. The materials themselves can speak about the brand and can contribute to the overall experience just as much as the content can speak. As a designer, knowing how to think holistically, which means seeing the big picture, and design for specialty print production will ensure that you are able to produce projects and products for your clients that set them apart, helping them stand out amongst their competitors. So this week, we will begin a 2-week cumulative project, designing a set of promotional materials for our musical clients. These materials are meant to be sent ahead to concert and festival organizers and must represent the musical experience within a printed package. In preparation for completing this assignment, conduct research on innovative folder and CD design, and consult online printing websites to learn just what is possible in size and layout. Building on the look and feel of your design created in your week 2 assessment, this week we will create the following items. So 1 curved pocket presentation folder with space for a USB flash drive, and 1 embossed CD holder. So basically, the idea is that in assessment 2, you guys all created a poster for Cloud Sunbeam, and what you're going to be doing now is creating kind of an overall matching 2 pieces to go with that, to kind of embody and kind of take in the feeling, the design styles, the design feeling that you started in week 2, and kind of expand it further. So graphic design is visual communication, but it's often kind of the communication of an experience as well. So, you want the graphic design experience to be very holistic, to take, excuse me, some sniffing, to be able to take everything into effect. So from the time, someone receives a folder or gets a flash drive or whatever, you want that to really embody the brand experience of your client. So in this case, it would be of Cloud Sunbeam. And so you really want to think about how you can design something that feels super cohesive and feels like it really builds on the brand ideas that you started in week 2. So if you're like, I didn't do week 2, now is your chance to come up with something new. You don't have to be held back. You can do this instead if you haven't done week 2. But just know that we will be working with this client for the next 2 weeks, so this week and next. So at some point, it would probably be to your benefit to do something. So just kind of, getting that out there. Okay, so what you're going to be making is a curved pocket presentation folder and a CD holder. Now you may be thinking like, how in the heck do I design a presentation folder? Like, do I have to get out my measuring tape and like trace and whatever? You actually don't. And the reason you don't is because printers have kind of die cut style lines that they have set up that they kind of want you to use. And so they have everything, they have everything coming here. And so you can just click here and download, and you actually will have to design it in, you will have to design it as a flat. So you will have to, use their die line and, do things with it, but we'll talk about how to do that. So what I would recommend is clicking, it says confused about what these items might be. Excuse me, click here. Actually, even if you're not confused, click here because it will take you to this, which will then let you access the it used to let you access the free samples. Pricing. It used to take you to where you could access the die lines. So just 1 second, we will find it because I know it is here. Free PDF proofs. Design templates. Folders, so those are templates, free folder templates. All right, we might take a 2-minute break because I have the PDF as well. I was hoping we could download it from here, but apparently not so much at this moment, or else I just can't find it. And so rather than you watching me browse the internet even more, which we've seen we've seen quite a bit already, I'm just going to stop sharing for 1 second and get the templates that we can share. And I still am confident that they're somewhere on that website. I just don't know where because I haven't searched it because I thought I knew that they would be right there. Good indicators that you always search and persist. Okay, so now we are back on track. So what we're going to do, well, I guess we'll do that. We'll start with the pocket folder. All right, so I will put this file into the announcements, so you can feel free to grab it there. And maybe I can email it out to all of you as well, if that would be helpful. But so anyway, this is the template that has a USB drive in it, a little space for it. And so I think it'll be just easiest for you guys to use this. You can, if you want to use your own template, or if you have something, or if you have a better idea, that's totally fine. But if you want to use this because it's easier, that too is totally fine. So it's just basically up to you, whatever you feel like. Okay, so it is a file that I am giving you, which is slowly but surely opening, is what's called an IDML, and it's an InDesign template. And oftentimes printers have these on their websites because they want designers to use them. Because if the designers use the templates, it's way easier for them overall because they are less likely to make mistakes trying to do their own thing. So it's just a good, it's a good deal for everyone. So we get the template, so we don't have to recreate it. And also the print company has people, you know, hopefully turning things in that makes sense, and they don't need to do a whole lot of back and forth stuff. Okay, so let's check out the template. Let's read about it. Close down our swatches so we can read about it bigger. So use the layers panel to navigate the templates. Die line, hey, we know what that is. Die line shows the cuts and scores for this project. Do not alter the die line. Do not use the color die line in your artwork. So we know that. Die lines need their own spot colors, and they also need their own layer indicators so that the printer knows actually where they go. Saving your artwork, high resolution, inaccurate files will be rejected. This is very good. Sending natives, you know, you have to package. Use PMS spot colors. For 4-color, use CMYK, not RGB. Very, very, very right. For foil stamping and emboss, supply as a vector. Convert type to outlines, avoid intricate details. Proofread and test your prints. Make a mock-up. Reduce copy fold. Does this copy fall on correct panels? Again, this is very important to do. Added charges apply if we need to modify your files, and we are not responsible for errors in supplied files. So it's, yeah, this is always when I read this from printers, it always like makes my heart beat slightly faster, because they're basically saying, hey, you're the designer. If something comes out wrong, not our fault. It's not our job to, you know, police you and check you and be your editor. That's your job. And so you have to do it, and yeah, that's true. That's what it means to be a professional. Okay, so, and then it says, in true James Bond fashion, after reading this message, it will self-destruct. No, or you will just hit hide, and you will turn off the visibility. Okay, so basically how this works is that this is front cover. It's labeled front cover, back cover, and then this is the pocket that's going to fold in. And so you will see kind of how it looks over here. So printing on the inside panel requires second side print charges. So they're not thinking that you're going to print on the interior, but you know, if you want to, you could do that. So integrated pouch with locking tab holds USB drive. Here's the pocket. There's a 3/4 backbone. And so here is what it's going to look like for the pocket. So you can imagine this is going to flip up and basically land here. So the pocket's going to be up here. So you have to kind of design accordingly because you want to make sure that what you have is showing up in the correct spots. So it's going to flip up. So that's kind of a good indicator. And copy direction, well, the copy direction needs to go down. So, you know, just what you're going to do, have your copy run this way. So if that makes sense, or you know, why would you put copy on this anyway? I mean, you could, but your choice. Okay, so basically what you're going to do is design the front and the back cover of your folder, and what you're going to be doing with the front and back cover, I believe, is I'm sorry, I'm reading. Okay, yeah, it's just a curved pocket folder. Oh, wait, so you don't even have to do you don't even have to do a specialty print finish on this folder. You just have to make the folder. So even, you know, this is even easier. So we don't really have to talk too much about how to do any specialty print finishes in InDesign because we talked about that before. We talked about that last week. And you don't need to even put it on this. So it really, you know, it's kind of a moot point anyway. But yeah, so if you want to put a specialty print finish on and go for it, that would be great. Or if you don't want to, you know, that's fine as well. But so how I would recommend going about this is really just opening up your poster that you created in week 2, and really just thinking about how you can overall achieve design consistency amongst the different elements. So how can you, use the same type? What imagery can you bring over? And I think what is actually easiest is if you really just copy and paste. And you can create a direct, you can just copy and paste elements over and make your poster or make your folder look a lot like your poster. I mean, you can make it like a mirror essentially, but you will need to kind of switch things up a bit because. So here is mine. Let's see, I want this to be the .ai version. Okay, so you might need to switch up elements just because it has a different, hide that layer, just because it has a different orientation. So I'm just going to outline my type as well. Copy it over, come to InDesign. So make sure your front and back cover, you have those straight. Okay, oops, trying to think of, oops, I'm already there, I need to go here. I had a moment where I was about to do something different with my folder, and then I said, no, how about we just stick to what you're doing? Okay, so again, be cognizant of things like your bleed, where that's going to go. I think we could almost just keep that within here. Huh. And of course, place your artwork here, where you want to place your stuff. Range, bring to front. So one thing you don't need to copy over, and this is something that I've seen in the past, is no need to do this part. Like, this is just all about the Cloud Sunbeam. So take Cloud Sunbeam, don't take all this content as far as dates or times or whatever. You could do like cloudsunbeam.com if you want to do that. But just think this is a fully promotional folder for the band itself. So kind of how can you make around that? And make this. Okay, so play with it, see what you like, see how you can change it up. But I mean, really, don't overthink this. If you had a cool, if you had a nice flow going for your poster, just replicate it, because a lot of design is all about developing that sense of consistency. And then, figure out what you want to do over here. Do you want it to be some sort of light color? Do you want it to just be blank? It can be white. That's fine. Like, you don't have to do anything, but just kind of know how it's working. Okay, so when you're all finished, which I'm not finished, but I'm not finished, but we do need to keep moving right along. So when you're finished, just remember you're going to package. So file, package, and then package and do your stuff. It's going to save. I'm not going to do it because it's not quite there. But the important thing to remember is just keep yourself in the lines, in the guidelines, and be cognizant of your bleeds and such, kind of that you're extending stuff, because I would imagine everybody's going to have some sort of bigger image or color flood or just something like that. So make sure that if that is you and if you have that, then that you are extending your bleed all the way. And also, be cognizant of the spine. So this is where it's going to fold. So in the past, I have had students be like, hey, I'm going to put my name right here. And just think about it a little bit. It's a folder. It's going to fold. Probably not the best spot for a name. So if you want something to be readable, put it in the front. Put it in a spot where it's going to kind of be front and center, so that it will have you'll have a better chance of kind of making it shine, so to speak. So kind of keep those kind of basics in mind. So all right, so that's the folder. And like I said, I will put this in the announcements. So you guys can download this IDML file, and you can use it, or if you have another file that you want to use, that's fine as well. Okay, so next thing we're going to jump into is the embossed CD holder. And if you need an example of what that looks like, you can see one here. Oh, so pretty. So cool. Yeah, it's just the paper gets pushed out, it becomes a piece of sculpture. Amazing. Okay, so if you're like, how do I make a CD cover? Again, many ways to do it. I actually have a link, which I will again put into announcements for disc makers. And this is templates. And so again, these are going to be things that you can download, and then you can just fill in the template just like we did with our folder, just recently, very recently. So you can choose whatever kind of whatever CD cover you would like, and you don't even have to do this if you don't. I mean, you have to do this assignment, but you don't have to use this site if you don't want to. So whatever your deal is fine. So we're gonna do. We're not gonna do that one. Maybe we're gonna do this one. So you can click the little preview images. It's nice, and then download, and it's gonna do its thing. Then you're gonna see what it's gonna give me. So I have it as an AI, an INDD, a PDF, a PSD, a Quark Express. I'm actually going to do it in Illustrator because I think it's easier. I'm going to say continue and close. Okay, and here is again an amazing die line that you will get to work with. So inside left, page 2, front cover, page 1, back cover, page 4, inside right, page 3. Always good when you open this up, go back and look at the preview of what exactly you just got. It wasn't this one. It was this one. Okay, so this is exactly what it's going to look like. So inside, outside, outside. So front, back, 2 insides, and the disc kind of moves. And the way it's set up is this page will actually flip inside. So this is an inside. So you're you're going to kind of see it, but it's so hard to describe. If I had a piece of paper next to me, I could take it out and fold it, but I don't have one handy, so you're just going to have to imagine. So front cover, back cover, and then this flap flips down, this flap flips right, and then it closes and makes a square. So front cover, back cover, these are kind of the 2 really important things to note. And then inside, this is once you open the CD, what are you going to see? So what I would recommend is just taking what you've created for the poster, again, just kind of condensing it into here, and then going from there. So here's my element. So with the key with this assignment, and actually the key with a lot of design in client work, is that you just come up with an idea and then you just keep on replicating it, because you want to have that consistency. And a lot of times, I know with students, like especially when I was a student, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so uncreative. And it's, in some ways, it's a little tricky, but in a lot of ways, it gives a sense of consistency for people that are just kind of looking at it, coming to it with fresh eyes. And even more, it gives you a sense of, that's kind of cool. It just kind of keeps you sane as a designer because you don't have to keep on reinventing the wheel. Reinventing stuff is fun for a bit, but when you're really busy and you just have a lot on your plate, sometimes you just want to replicate, and that's totally fine. Like you're cool. You're allowed to do that. In fact, you're encouraged to do that in lots of ways. Okay, so let's just say this is the front. Love it. Love it. Okay, we're going to do the same thing in the back. Oops. Move this guy here. So it's not going to be too crazy. Again, think about what you want to put in the spine, if anything. I would suggest don't wrap your title. because it just gets weird. And then, inside or outside, whatever, these things, if you want to have anything. If you even choose this template, you guys have free range of any sort of CD template. You can go with it. I don't really care. So, kind of keep that in mind too. The site though has a ton of stuff, and it's really good. So I would encourage you. It's easiest to use the site, but whatever you want, it's your choice. You're the designer. Oops. I should hit Option to pull that over and pull it down. Close that character thing because I don't need that. Okay, so again, just make sure you're staying in the lines. I did not there. So we're going full bleed. And kind of cool. Okay. All right, so one more thing we're going to need is going to be that emboss layer, emboss element. So as we said before, embossing is kind of easy because it is kind of just like any other specialty print finish. For embossing, we're actually going to not use a spot color, but we are going to use 100% K, so 100% black, to indicate the emboss. And otherwise, we're just going to put it on its own layer, and then we're essentially good to go. So first thing you're going to do is think about what it is you want to emboss. So for me, I think I want to emboss my title, my Cloud Sunbeam, and have that kind of be the element that's raised up. So what I'm going to do is just copy it and create a new layer and label this emboss layer. And then I'm going to block all my other layers so I don't accidentally paste it on here. And paste and make it black. 100% K, which you can see M, Y, and K. And we're going to put it right over the top. And so it is going to be the thing that gets separated out. Now, one thing that I did just notice with my font is the fact that this font is not a good one to select for an emboss layer. And the reason that is because it's got all of this like craggy, distressed kind of texture to it. And so it's not going to be able to create a clean kind of die, a clean kind of press to push into the paper to enact the emboss. So what I'm going to do, and if you have, I don't know that anybody's using anything that's this like grungy, but what I would recommend for you guys is if you are, see if I can step back enough to, oh yeah, undo create outlines, easy. If you have a font like this and I'm using the aged version, use just the non-grunge version, because that will create a cleaner, use that for your emboss layer, because that will create a clean emboss. This will, I think this will probably would get rejected if I sent this into a printer, just because it's not a clean line. And the printer, when the printer either makes the die in-house or sends it out to be made, they need a really clean, clear set of vectors, basically, to make it show up correctly. So this is not clean vectors. This is purposefully distressed, and that's why I love it. But it's great for a rock star band name. It is not so great for an emboss, which we want to be fully clean. So just kind of keep that in mind. So we're going to just change this to fully black. We're not going to change it that way though. Change it to fully black. Okay, and just make sure I did it the right way. K 100%. All these guys down to 0, so it's fully K. And that's on the well, it's on the emboss layer, but who knows if that's the correct correct size or correct place for it. Okay, so here you can see we have it. Then we're going to just tweak it a little bit so it kind of gets in there. Looks good. And then we are also going to create outlines for it. So it will then be fully outlined. So it's a vector element. So this is something it's not going to print, but the printer is just going to see it, most likely turn off all the layers, send this file to either production agency that's going to create the die, which is going to push out the paper, perform the emboss, or do it in-house, whatever the system might be. So kind of how that all shakes out. So what you're going to do, just make sure you have your emboss layer intact, and then make sure that you have your emboss is set to 100% black, 100% K, and then design accordingly. Be mindful of your bleeds, and it looks like I actually was not mindful of my bleeds right here for all of this because I haven't pulled it to the top. So be mindful of your bleeds as you're designing, and then think about how you can keep an overall sense of good consistency in your pieces in here as well. So again, super not too complicated. Maybe not super easy, but easy enough as far as how you set it. So we're just going to save it. Assignment 3. Okay. And for this one, be sure to package it. So file, package, and package. Okay. Oh, missing fonts. What? Oh, I wonder if that's part of the, it might be Milka is not an easy to be transported one. Well, if you get that issue, just go to Save As, and you can just save it as a PDF. And that's fine with me. And turn that in. And actually, please save it as a PDF as well. So, so it works. Okay, so we are, we are good. Okay, so that is the assignment for this week. In many ways, kind of not easier than the assessment because you do have to make a lot of design choices and go through and kind of see how to replicate what you created in week 2. And if you needed to make some updates from week 2, kind of making those as well. So yeah, you gotta kind of keep that in mind too. But once you have your poster in a spot where you like it, just work with it that way. You don't have to, again, you don't have to like recreate the wheel. How can you replicate? How can you make things show up? And how can you kind of move along that pathway? So consistency is definitely where it's at. Okay, so you're gonna put them both in a folder, zip them, and then submit this zipped folder as far as what it's gonna look like. So yeah, have fun with it. Okay, so we are going to close out this session with just a quick discussion of the Big Four. So kind of some things to keep in mind as you are designing, as you are potentially updating, redesigning, as you are designing for the first time, whatever situation you may find yourself in. So Big Four principles of graphic design. If you remember, way back in DES 109, you were probably introduced to these. So we learned back then, remember, there is no magic bullet to design, like no one way to instantly ensure that every design is perfect, what have you. But there are some general guiding principles that if you respect them, if you keep them in mind as you're designing, you'll have a much greater chance of actually succeeding in your design piece than if you ignore them. So these are the Big Four, the Big Four principles of design. So we're just going to kind of buzz through them with examples. And like I said, it's probably a review, but always good to kind of refresh as well. So our first principle is going to be contrast. So contrast is what draws your attention, guides your eye through a design. So contrast is kind of the, whoa, look at that, that's so different than, you know, the rest of what I'm seeing. I'm interested, I'm intrigued, I want to look and figure it out. So that's kind of the place of contrast. So here's a couple examples of contrast on CD covers, no less. This is actually very planned. So you can see we have a contrast in colors and kind of how the figures, the images are overlapped. They really stand out. They are different from one another. And because they are different, our eye picks that up. We feel that that is kind of visually engaging, and we want to kind of look. We want to, you know, we want to check it out. We want to see what's going on. We want to understand it, and so it's yeah, it's an effective piece that way. So contrast primarily comes in contrast of color. So changing different colors that are next to one another. It can also come in sizing, so contrast in scale. It can also come in contrast of like empty versus full, so overall spacing. So it doesn't really matter how you contrast, what you contrast. It just matters that you have some contrast so that you can really, you know, draw your audience into what you are showing, and kind of pull them in, make them want to look, type thing. So here's another example, very, very classic Pink Floyd. Dark background, just a couple light colors. Bam, there it is. Cloud Sunbeam, the album I created, may have been inspired by this album just a little bit, maybe, with triangles, with rainbow colors and such. So yeah. So each of these design principles also has a key word that goes with it, or key phrase. And so for contrast, it's don't be a wimp. So don't make wimpy choices. Don't contrast, you know, two things that are kind of similar, kind of alike. Contrast two things that are radically different. And so in that radical difference, they will just have that sense of tension that will make you want to look even more. So don't be a wimp in your contrast. So second Big Four principle is going to be repetition. So repetition is the consistent use of similar elements within a design. So repetition really is about establishing a sense of consistency and a sense of cohesiveness in what you're doing. So we talked about this. Between our different elements for this week. As far as, you know, we're going to make our posters be consistent, or I'm sorry, we're going to make our folders consistent with our posters. We're going to make our CD covers consistent with our folders, with our poster. You know, so we want to have this sense of kind of tied togetherness in our elements. And the reason that we want that is because, you know, if our minds are constantly kind of decoding new stuff, new information, trying to figure that all out, it just gets really mentally tiring. And so it's important as designers that we put in enough kind of context clues about, you know, how you figured this out, you know, this thing relates to it because it's got similar color scheme, or it's got similar font usage, or just whatever. It has that sense of cohesiveness, of consistency. So that is created using repetition. So here are a couple examples. You can see repeated shapes, repeated colors, repeated fonts. Those tend to be the most common ways to use repetition. So sailing to the sun, repeated rectangles kind of going all over. 21 Pilots, you can see repeated circles filled with patterns. So it can be as literal as like, here's one thing, I'm going to repeat it, you know, verbatim, same thing. Or it can be kind of the theme gets repeated. So here, you know, it's not the same pattern that's repeated everywhere, but it is the same circle shape that's housing the pattern. So kind of an interesting way to just kind of mix it up a bit. So keyword for repetition, repeats. No shocker there. Third principle is going to be alignment. So alignment is consistent placement of design elements within a composition. So repetition, consistent usage of elements, alignment, consistent placement. So with alignment, you really want to consider how you can guide your audience's eye through a design piece. So kind of show how different pieces are connected, one to the next, one to another, kind of where your eye travels through the documents overall, kind of is how that comes together. So you can see here, good example. The polygon shape is in the middle, draws your eye down to the figure, draws your eye up kind of to the head, which jumps it over into the titles. So kind of cool how that all plays out. So with alignments, our key phrase is really to create a grid. So you really want to think of every composition that you make as kind of a roadmap or as a treasure map, which sounds even better. So you want to kind of guide your clients, guide your audience through the kind of twists and turns of what's going on, and just give them kind of the good payoff, so that they don't feel lost, so that they don't feel like you kind of abandon them. Instead, that they know where you're headed, where you're going with things, and kind of why you're taking them on this journey. So create a grid. Really kind of consider lining things up, how you can do that overall. Okay, so last but not least, final principle is proximity. And proximity is an intentional connection amongst related elements within a design. So basically, proximity is all about kind of grouping things. So putting things that are alike, putting them together, and then separating out things that are not connected. So with proximity, you really want to, you want to create that sense of, how does this relate to that type deal? And it's a lot like alignment in that it's all about how to kind of help your audience make sense of the design. And so it really is, very targeted, like saying these things are connected, so put them close together. These things are not connected, so separate them out. So kind of playing with that kind of here and there balance of what's going on. So you can see here, all of the information is in the middle of the CD. So kind of everything kind of connects up together in the center, which is kind of an interesting arrangement. But then you can also see the outside, so the pieces that are not related, kind of fit in there as well. Again, grouping. So here's the title of the CD, the name of the band, kind of grouped in the center. Oftentimes, when you're using proximity, shapes and lines are a very good way to kind of bring that balance and kind of set those boundaries. So this is a good example of that. And the key word for proximity is really group it. So think what is connected as far as information in your design, and how can you put that, how can you match that together with other things? So how can you group like things together, things that are not alike, separate them out. So again, it's all about comprehension. It's all about understanding. It's all about kind of creating clarity overall. So that was like lightning fast review, but hopefully it just gave you a couple lenses to look at what you're designing. So I would encourage you, as you're looking at your poster, think like, how is my contrast? Where do I see it? Where do I still need help? Like, how is my repetition? Does this feel cohesive? Does this feel like it has, a sense of order to it? Am I using the right stuff? Other questions, am I, lining things up? Does your eye easily flow? And, be critical. If it doesn't, if you're like, oh, I might actually be making some wimpy choices, which I make wimpy choices all the time. And then I just go back and say, okay, let's turn up the volume. Let's be brave. We can do this. We can do this, Lisa. Give yourself the pep talk. And then just see how it could work a bit better. So contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity. All right. Well, I think we will end things here. So just kind of one last heads up. We are going to do one more short session together, just to kind of do work in progress. I'll give you some tips for If you haven't started anything and you're kind of freaking out, how to easily and efficiently kind of get through things. But yeah, so it should be a little bit less than an hour, and I will again keep you guys posted about that. But yeah, so take care, everyone. Hopefully, you have a great day, whatever day it might be for you when you are viewing this. And as usual, if you have any questions about anything that we presented or how to do your assessment or anything like that, feel free to let me know, and I'll try to we'll try to walk you through it appropriately. So, all right, well, take care, everybody. And again, hopefully, you guys have a great day. All right, see ya.